I only unpaused my preview on the dashboard today because I wanted to make sure that check the transcoding, whether or not I had transcoding. And I switched Firebot over to bot instead of streamer. I don't know if that's going to fix the problem though. Also, my computer is due for a Windows update restart, but I haven't had time since it installed it because it did that while I was not home, and I haven't had time since I've been home. I keep hitting the wrong button because it's a wrong game. I think first I'm going to start with building out some platform here. I'm not sure how big that thing is. I think it's 3 by 2 foundation sections. I'm not 100% on that. But I did a little bit of exploring and grabbed the oil nodes. And I haven't done a whole lot other than that. Did some more of the MAM research. And I got, let's see, Deuterium. I think I did that on camera, actually. Wait, this one? No. I did do the fabric one. And I think that one as well, because I had the stuff on me. And that one. I've seen this fungi, I just haven't gone and gotten it. Nothing there. Quartz. And I think that one. No, I did that already earlier. Might have been that one. And I was messing with some of the sulfur. Experimental power generation. The turbo fuel is actually better than the regular fuel, but at this point I don't really care. It has a longer burn time, is the main advantage. So you get more out of it than you do with the regular fuel. Anyhoozle, there's 3 oil nodes over here that I have grabbed. I have opted to start just playing off camera because if I don't, it's going to be sometime after 2030 when we're done. And I know exactly how much power all of it will draw, as well as how many of each piece I get that we're going to need. I believe it's 930, or no, almost 950 megawatts in total power draw. And the 26 fuel generators, which I don't have unlocked just yet because we need to get plastic production going. But it's 3,900 megawatts of power generated. Also, I can't run on this because it's slightly below the water, but I like doing it this way so that I can actually walk on it and get back on it if I fall in the water. The downside of it being underwater is that I can't do the slide and jump. You just... Oh, now it's working. Yeah, it's not as effective because you can't slide as well underwater because water resistance. And I don't think the factory cart will actually drive through it at all. I did unlock a couple of little tidbits, mostly like glass roofs and a couple of other of the pieces in the awesome shop. Which, actually, we're going to need to check the sink here and see how many tickets we've got. Probably a dozen or so. I've got it continuously being fed, but the things it's being fed, they're only worth so much, and over time, you need more and more points to get the next ticket. It's a bit of a hike. I forget what point it's at, but over there somewhere there's actually a pure coal node. That first one we can see now is the one I was thinking we used for our plastic production. So we're going to have 8 refineries per pure node to do the plastic and rubber. And then another... Really? Oh. Oh, landed it in the sand. Got him. I knew one of us wasn't going to survive that, but it wasn't going to be me. So this is a pure node. So I'm able to get 240 out of it per minute. And then the one over there is also a pure node. Might have to swim a little here. And this is also a pure node. Now, the power usage when you overclock doesn't scale linearly. So it doesn't take exactly twice as much power. It takes like 250% the power the way I've got it set currently. But over... where's the other one? I seem to have lost my machine. So I got that one there, that one there. I thought I had one set up over here. But there's a normal node there. I could have swore I set up 3. Whatever. I also had a game crash at one point, so it's hard to say. It could have just simply crashed and deleted that. Always possible. It's one of those things that it likes to do that. A few years back, I was transporting a mending villager in my first world, Minecraft world, from a mushroom island to the world spawn where I wanted to keep him, and the game crashed. And what the game does in the case of a crash like that is it removes anything that it thinks caused the problem. Unfortunately for me, that meant that I lost my villager. I don't want to go too far, but I also don't want to be too close with it either. Maybe there, and we'll build off to there. 2. That'll be 2, 3, 4, 5, and a half. 6, 7, oops, 7, 8. And I want to say it was 4 long, maybe? Out to there. Yeah, that should be fine. I don't know why I always use the 4-meter ones. Come over here, because each of these will be able to do 8. Since that other one is going to be overclocked and used for fuel only, I think it should be okay to just let it do less. Oh, yeah, about 1.5 wide and 3 long. That's actually fine because we want to make sure we got plenty of room for everything. For all of our activities. And obviously I have the parts, or the ability to make the parts anyways, to do this, because I still have... I have one at our little collection of resource machinery. And we're going to get residual oil, or heavy oil, or something like that. I forget what they call it exactly. It's going to be expensive. But I want to get that going first and get the next tier of belts going. But there should be plenty of room there now. There should be plenty of room, and I don't think it's tall enough to where it should be a problem for it to... where I run in... Sometimes I'll run into where there's just not quite enough room for everything. Sprockets and rotors. We'll see what all we've got in our storage system here in a second. But I thought I would get to plastic, at least to get the plastic going first. Get started getting machinery set up. And we're going to need a packager and a crafter. A constructor. One constructor. Do we have a packager yet? I don't think we have the packager yet, so we're not going to be doing that. We will eventually need a constructor and some other things. Because I needed to pull some of the plastic off to make the containers. And then at least temporarily set up so that we're packaging like excess fluids, well, liquids, and dispose of them in the awesome sink, just so it'll keep running. And I know with the fuel generator, you get those plastic polymer resin little cuboids. And I was thinking just have a box of them and then send the rest of those into an awesome sink. Oh, and before we get to the final phase for the elevator here, when we actually are doing that, we are going to actually need more plastic than we're going to get out of that node. And rubber. Because I remember one time I did go through absolutely everything. I kept running out of both, or having trouble with both of those keeping up. It's about freezing today, so therefore all the neighbors are now out on their motorized vehicles running around in circles. Let's see. I probably don't have quite enough of that. We are going to need more because we're going to want to go ahead and get the other steps set up too. So we're going to need rotors, and we're going to need concrete, and then we need to go up to our steel to get the whatever it's called. Sure, let's see, rotors. Is this one? No, that's the reinforced iron plates. Smart plating, which yesterday off stream I went and threw a bunch of that into the... That's the other thing of that. This one. Yeah. Lost my train of thought. I didn't really need you anyways, did I? Just to be sure. I'll grab more steel when I'm at the other. See configuration. It should be mostly finished when I get back. Need my steel pipes. I also am going to want more steel beams because we've been using those for the belts. Although I don't... Yeah, there is a solid output, the plastic. Plus, we're going to want some extras for the storage container because I'm going to stick them in an industrial storage container for the time being. I think I automated the sprockets, not the... Yeah, stators. More than I really need, but yeah. Because Firebot is supposed to be posting under the bot account, not my main account. And I think I have to actually get the steel going properly, but in order to do that I need this higher tier belts. But once it's going, I don't know. I'm just going to do this one more time and then I have to pull that out because... Oh, not enough. $14. I don't think I have any in there right now. No. Foundations. guess we could get that and that. Right, it's going to be under arc walls, I think. And then we got gate hole wall and the automated gates. And some walls for the conveyors. Now, the question is it actually enough encased industrial beams now? Yes. It's exactly enough. Select recipe motors. It'll take a couple of minutes to get that going. Let's see, we've got our posts and that. Might want to grab more cable. Don't have any in there. Now at some point I do want to measure out for a building here. And the secret on where they're going with all this gas burning is nowhere. They're driving around in circles. I don't know that that actually will make 100 of those. Is it a 1-to-1? No, so we're going to have 50. We're going to need more both. Should have checked the recipe before I started grabbing materials here, because I would have known, oh, hey, that's not enough. Because I need more stators. And I was hoping to get trains going, but I may end up just belting things around. Unfortunately. And that's where we make the encased beams. All this stuff is mathed out, so it should be exactly enough. I just don't have the belts to supply it yet. When I do have this stuff to do it, I'm going to be moving the stator production to a different location. I didn't check, but I think the bottleneck is the steel pipes, not the copper. I don't think I can get rid of that gas. So if I would build a much bigger building around all that, but I think I'm going to be a little bit limited on size. routers, which are way over there. Smart plating. Some of these parts just aren't moving because the storage for it's backed up. Not quite enough motors. We're going to make pipes, which is why I have all the copper sheets. And then I did take out the limestone production. The one that's not being used for anything. I mean, if the node's not being used, I might as well. So my peak consumption is going to be more than my production until I get the fuel generators online. But I'm okay with that. So what's like over there is where that limestone node is that I'm currently not using. %, because the efficiency is not as important. If you're needing an exact quantity, the number of parts that go into each thing and how many you get out matters. If you're just auto-producing everything, the amount per minute's the number to look at. Let's see, I suppose, just in case, I'll go grab some more copper sheets. And I was also thinking, with overclocking, I could go ahead and switch the coal node over. Go a few stacks. Just to be sure. There's probably enough now. Yeah. Yesterday when I saw the tweet about the snapshots coming and experimental features, I like the idea of the cherry blossom trees in Minecraft. As much as people like to complain about the way Mojang does things, at the end of the day, they are listening to people who actually play the game. At least to a degree. And I know there's people that are like, oh, well, doing modded is different because they try to say it's a different process. It's the exact same process to write a mod as it is to do it in the actual game itself. Yeah, there's an API for that, but the actual process itself is the same. There we go. We're not doing that now. Yep. Say, yeah, it's so much better. I mean, the Shulker Box is the worst backpack, and they took Techtopia and didn't do as good of a job. And there was something else that was more recent that they took and made a worse version of it for the vanilla game. But they are open to feedback at least, which is more than we could say about other companies. Cough. YouTube, cough. They don't listen to the creators, they don't listen to the viewers, they don't listen to the advertisers. Mm-hmm. Oh, I've come close to dying here a couple of times, but I still haven't died yet. It's one of those, the more you play a game, the better you'll be at it. At least against the environmental, computer-controlled, whatever, AI, whatever you want to call it. Against other players, on the other hand, since I don't really participate in PvP, if I can, I might recover some of the materials to free up that space. Oops, fell off. Let's see, production refinery. A player is in the way. Yes, I know. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How do I want to do this? I don't think it makes that big of a difference, but I don't know how far I can actually go with the pipe before it goes, oh, we can't go any further. So I'll just do it like that. I would rather have too many supports than not enough. I've done that. It doesn't work very well. If I did this right, there should not be any supports inside of where these need to go. I'm going to put it that way. And we are going to need that again on the other side because there is a fluid output, or liquid output rather. There. And then the other one should be just off the edge here. this one isn't going to go directly into a refinery. I think I'm going to need to make some industrial fluid buffers. And because this is the heavy fuel thing, this one will be the heavy fuel, I might actually connect them all together. And it says these can pump up to 10 meters, but this is nowhere near that. This is also why I grabbed so much copper. I'm going to want this one to be further out. Foundations. Probably like over there. There, so. And we need the actual conveyors. And then I was going to make an industrial storage container. Floor is too steep. I can put it there, but I can't put it there. Okay. Navigating here is going to be interesting. Put it into the top. Might be a little easier to get around on the other side because I don't have the belts to contend with. But all of these need to be making plastic, just regular plastic. The residual plastic requires the whatever that stuff is. The polymer resin. I think I can build some industrial fluid buffers. No, I can't. Need modular frames for that. So modular frames, and I'd like to make another awesome sink out here. For that, and then the Mark III power poles, or 2. Keep it on Mark III for whatever reason. So 7 connections. I need 2 of them for this. 2 of those. Plus the modular frame things for the industrial fluid buffer. I suppose it is accurate to call it a fluid buffer because it'll also take nitrogen gas. Every time I see Jay's 2 cents talking about liquid cooling, and he talks about the fluids and the fluids and the fluids, and I want to tell him, Jay, air is a fluid. You mean liquid. I should have an ample supply of all of that. Especially since it's on a server and been running continuously since yesterday. My wrist is really hurting me today. Really bad ergonomics, unfortunately. Some days it gets really tingly and some days it doesn't. Nope. Not today. Sad. So we're going to need the quick wire from over there, some reinforced iron plates, as well as our modular frames. I'll get to the thing. That's the smart plating, which is still being crafted, by the way. That's the rotors. Modular frames is probably the one poking out the back. Just saying, it's probably the one that pokes out the back. Ew. Weird.
Your contract legally compels you to harvest this artifact.
Oh, shut it, Ada. I actually have no idea where that artifact is. It's around there somewhere, obviously, because I keep getting prompted to collect it. I don't know where though. Nope, that's just iron plates. I want the one over here. And that should give us everything we need. It's 2 of those because I have 8 of those. 8 refineries and a pump and an awesome sink. Can I craft the empty canisters now? Because if I can, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to go ahead and make one of those too. Go ahead and craft the empty canisters, even if you can't package it right away. That might be the next tier. Select recipe. Biofuel, ammunition. No. You have to unlock the packaging ability first. Makes sense, I suppose. Is that under that? No. I have to unlock that one. which is fine because I need to unlock that one first. So I'll worry about the packaging part later. I should have enough for the valves. No, I don't. I can't make a valve yet because I don't have rubber. Never mind. Not that it matters, because if it's a two-way flow thing, it'll just flow both ways and be really weird. The other thing about going ahead and doing two of them is because we're going to also have the awesome sink, and then there's a crafter we're going to be needing, and a packager, which also draws power. And that's 3 more components on top of the 9 already there. That's almost every lead off of a Mark II pole. And I believe that's 7 leads per. 7 cables. There's these 3 oil nodes. I'm not actually sure what I'm going to do for the aluminum. I know I need bauxite ore, but I can't remember where the node is. I think it's up that way somewhere. I think. Yeah, with it warming up out quite a bit. I've got the thermostat turned way down in here, but the computer generates heat, especially when it's under load like it is. So it's a lot warmer here than I would prefer. I would go ahead and start the fuel one, except for I think I want to wait till I have the packaging ability. They'll go together. Unfortunately, we're going to be trashing a bunch of the not the little one. Yeah. I guess we don't have the big one yet. Yeah, don't have the industrial one yet. I'm going to go ahead and do 3 more. This is just to give me time. I will eventually unlock that industrial buffer. It should reach almost everything over there, and this one should reach most of what's over here. I'm gonna hold off on hooking that up for the moment because I think I want to have everything as much as possible. I'm not sure, but I think I can drive the tractor through this. Might not be able to. Oh, I actually know how long each cable section is. Each stretch is up to 25 meters, and you can do 4. Because it's 100 meters. I'm like, just poking around looking at the wiki, and I'm like, well, that doesn't help. I don't have a tape measure. Yeah, it's sort of like how there's a bunch of math on there with everything using power in joules and blah, 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 blah. Well, none of that, while it is technically correct, none of that actually matters. Because the joules is how work is done with electricity and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, you're technically correct. It doesn't matter. You just need to know how many megawatts in and how many out. And basically this is going to be the main feed for that whole area. Technically I could go further with it, but I don't want to, so. It's actually faster than I usually get on dry. And this is where we find out something's not set right. With the issue years ago Tango and ZF were having, that might have been a multiplayer bug. It could just be a bug with the way that it's encoded, but they would record a path with one of these and then tell it to go drive that, and it would drive it for a little while, and then it'd start going a different route. Not the way they told it to go. I don't know how it decides what direction to make you face when you get off. A little bit of that. Yeah, eventually I'll get caught up. I guess just struggling because it wants to. It's a prioritization where it fills the closest one first, and then with this, you run into the problem where it wants to flow both ways, and so it flows back into the machine. But we should have some plastic anyway. I have no idea how much I'm gonna need. You don't need much room to turn this thing around, I'll tell you that. Oh, the other thing that uses a lot of power is actually the trains. It's part of why I'm thinking about going ahead and when I start building that building up, go ahead and just belt everything around. Not my favorite plan, but it will work. Oh, as of last night, this is actually my second most played game on Steam now. I just passed Empyrean. There goes the horn. Now it's working. With the crash I had yesterday, it has an option to not send a report and just close the window, or send a report and close the window, or I don't remember what the third option was. But because this is early access, I'm like, just send the report. And I think there was something else I needed plastic for as well, but I don't remember what it was. That smokeless powder. Yeah, I think that might be the one that unlocks the rifle. But first, go ahead and select milestone. And I should still have some of that. Yeah, from earlier. I think this is the one that unlocks the rifle. Yep.
New recipe unlocked.
The rifle.
New research available
I
in the MAM.
Can't do that just yet because we're gonna need rubber to do that. Let's see, 100 motors, so that'd be 200 of that and a couple hundred of those. Today chat is very quiet. Also, I'm sad my last stream didn't do very well in the on the VODs on Twitch. Sad. But I also know not everybody's into this kind of a game. I like the way Tango described it best. 3D Factorio. Basically, it's a game about logistics. And those are sitting idle because there's nothing going into them. Getting 200 of that. And 200 of the other. And it should still be set to that recipe. And I hear a train going by. At least that's what it sounds like to me. The way I've got stream and everything configured, my CPU is like, I thought you were going to put it on a load, and then my GPU is like, as it dies. Rotors for that. At the moment, we're going to be running around quite a bit. This is why you have a centralized storage system somewhere eventually. That's the smart plating. reinforced plates, and so that would be the rotors over here. 6 rotors. I think it's still set to the same recipe, but I'm going to double check. I don't have that on AutoCraft because everything currently is a mess. Yep. Rotors. The stators. Got another coupon while I've been running around. And then we gotta go do the same thing again, only for the rubber. So it would be 8 of those. 8 refineries. Basically everything else I should already have. Motors and encased steel beams. I don't think I have any stored anywhere at the moment. Well. I've got enough materials to do it. Just gotta stare at the screen for a little while. Unfortunately, most of those motors are going to go into something else. I'm gonna need 2 more recipes of that. I'm gonna wait until I'm done crafting the encased beams first. So that'd be another 200 rotors and 200 stators. But I believe that's the research tree that'll let me unlock the faster belts, that'll let me set up and actually fire up the improved steel production setup, which auto produces the encased steel beams. Since they're closer, I'm going to do the rotors first. Spaghetti. Has spaghetti. Fortunately, I think I'm not going to need to worry about it, the power as much, because I've already got the materials on me to make several more of the of the Mark II poles. And it should effectively be the same setup, just with making rubber instead of oil, or oil instead of plastic. I'm up here for the stators. I will need to get back to that and address that. Because at the moment, once I remove the steel production over there and put it over there, I won't be producing stators anymore. So, yeah. That's not going to work very well. Does he also have to produce the rubber? And for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to shove all of the crude and the heavy residue stuff down the same pipe. Just to make my life easier for myself. And I have a large enough power buffer to actually go quite a bit over the top of my max power, current power production in spikes. But we're definitely going to need to get the fuel generators going. In the meantime, I should be able to get this all going. I'm not sure if switching that to bot is what fixed that. Or if it was something else somewhere else in the chain. I can't actually find a setting for that. Do you want to post as your bot? Or do you want to post as the streamer's account? I'm not sending the plastic off to the awesome sink just yet because at the moment when that fills up, it'll stop outputting the heavy residue, and when it does that, it's gonna stop running anyways. But I think I have enough buffer there for both setups. Now I have actual measurement I can go on. Yeah, I should have plenty of everything, I think. I don't think I actually need those modular frames, though. Oh well, they were already in my inventory. For the moment, that's what I have to do with that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That way's fine. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. Oh. Actually, given where this is, I might just put it right here. I don't think it's high enough, though. Two, 3, 4, 5. Nope. 2. Oh, I don't have enough motors on me. I forgot to wait and go grab those. In fact, I forgot to drop the parts off to make the other sets. Whoopsie daisies. Make it all the way out there. I completely forgot about that. I actually need 60 motors because one of them I had to rip back out. That's one of those nice things and a little bit of playing around with it that I like about Grounded. If you don't have the materials to build the thing right away, you can just place the hologram of it and then bring materials over to it and add them to the whatever it is. Some games let you do that, some don't. There should be enough motors in there, though, to finish this. And then the remainder I have to leave because I need to put them in my research console. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. And let's not leap off the end because I've done that before. Not in this playthrough, but I have done that before. And you just go careening off the side and, well, the last few times I've had that happen, the box it leaves is somewhere up in the air? Although the last couple of times, I think they tweaked it a bit so that in the code, basically what happens, it would put the box on the top of the walkway that I've got there, instead of just dropping it into the void or having it hovering out in the air. That's probably more than I need for that, but eventually I do need to set up automation for that. back. Back and forth. Back and forth. So I was looking at that Google Doc for the Frog and Chicken server. Basically, they used an AI to try to create some lore for the server. And under mine, it's actually not completely inaccurate. As soon as the temperature is above freezing, they're out there. Oh, and being nighttime doesn't make any difference either. They'll be doing that at midnight, 1, 2 a.m. Pause for a second and have a drink. Helps tremendously when you remember to bring everything. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely confident I have enough copper sheets on hand to do this either. Because there's also the pipes that have to be run. And the junctions and everything. Seems to be doing better on that. I never actually checked the buffers. Yeah. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And somewhere towards the middle. And then another one at the end here. I mean, I have the resources, just they might not be in my pocket. I mean, that is about shape, but that's not where I want it to go. I'm not sure how much of a difference that actually is going to make. As long as it actually connects to that. Out there. That one. And it's basically the same thing over here. Really? The thing we ran out of is steel beams? That's hilarious. Which also means I'm not going to have enough to do the other part either. Should have make a couple of those though. There it is. Are there 4 nodes here? Okay. That is interesting. Apparently there's another royal node over here. Huh. Okay. Rubber. Rubber. Yeah, I hear them driving back and forth. I wish they wouldn't do that. When you're at home doing something like this that really needs quiet, the best friend for me for that would be sub-zero temperatures. Rubber, 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 rubber. Wubba. And pipelines. How am I gonna reach that? Nah. I'm probably gonna have to do that in 2 stretches. Back this too long. It doesn't quite reach. And that's going to fill up with residual because it's coming off the other one. Anyways, I need steel beams. I don't even have enough steel beams to make the container. Well, actually, I probably do, but... I don't have enough steel beams to connect this to anything. The Mark II belts should mostly be able to handle it. No. Yeah, 200... Is it 270? 120. Nope, it does need the Mark IIIs, okay. Not necessarily on the output directly, but in the... where it all collects together into a single belt, and that single belt to the storage. Does need to be the Mark III. Really need to do a scrap thing with my dentures. Some pieces of... I'm not sure what it is, but that's very uncomfortable. I think I'm gonna have to run all the way up to the steel production area to get steel beams. All this work just to unlock the higher tier belts so I can get my steel production going at max efficiency. Yep. I think what I'm going to do is just pull off the final production for the pipes and send half of it over that and not worry about maximizing the production of it. I think it's 60, and then the turning it into the stators is more than that. I think it'll take the entire output of 1 or 2 of those. but all the pipeline is hooked up. I'm going to hold off on doing anything with the fuel producing one just because I kind of sort of... let's see. 3 pipes. And this is a recipe. Gives you 20 a minute. 20 a minute on that. And then that uses 15 a minute. So basically almost the entire production of one of those. One crafter. Let's see. Should not need more cover sheets, I don't think. Just the steel beams. Steel beams and then go grab the motors out of the box from the output. Before I start the phase 3 stuff, I want to get all the everything that I can craft automatically set up to be automatically crafted. I'm not going to hook up the power just yet because I need to actually have somewhere for all the materials to go. Also, it's going to be nice to have finally be able to do some valves. I think that's copper sheets and rubber. Steel beams and rubber. Well, perhaps it's best that we're getting our rubber going. I think there's actually a graphics card driver update, but in order to do that update, you have to do the restart to install Windows updates first. And since I've got pending Windows updates to install first, that has to take priority. So I might be restarting a computer twice later today. But I couldn't do it before stream because I just didn't have time. Let's see over there. Jump that in. And then I don't think I'm going to need the motors, so I'm just going to dump them in there. But I should have everything else. And I should be able to just connect the power over there rather than having to drag power over there, since I already got it. And I know that the even putting out as much for the fuel, it's not gonna take nearly as much to do the other thing, the as many power lines, because I only need 4 refineries for that. Because I believe it was 4 refineries will use enough oil. It uses like 240 oil if you're making fuel. Sorry about that. Because I believe the reason there's 8 refineries for the rubber and the plastic is because you only get, it only uses like 30 units of oil per minute, and with the fuel it uses 60. And a nice loud motorcycle drive by. It's way warmer than it has been, so everybody's out motorcycling and scootering, and also ATVs if they've got them. Drive your convertible with the top down. And I want to say, instead of driving, you could try walking. It's less polluting, makes less noise. And admittedly, even I could probably use to do that too. Splish. Because unfortunately that will backfill all the way. Swimmy swim. I believe that was the last of it right there. From there to there. And then we need a storage unit. And then conveyor belt. Not entirely sure how far we're actually going to get with this line. And now that should start running a little bit. Splish, splish. I remember when I was in middle school getting in trouble for playing in a puddle. I don't think that particular helper was too happy with what my mom's answer was when they were complaining about it. It's like, is he in danger? No. Is he causing a problem by playing in the puddle? No. Then what do you care? It dries. It's water. heavy oil residue. There is that new blueprint system, but unfortunately, it doesn't. It's not big enough for what I want. For the moment. I think I'm going to take some of that rubber and go ahead and make some valves. Just to keep the heavy oil from backing up. First I have to go grab it. I know, I'll do this thing. This shouldn't take more than a few minutes. 8 hours later. I probably would have had that all up and running if I didn't have somewhere else to be all morning. Until like 12:30. Because I know I need rubber for that. I think I needed rubber for another thing in MAM too. Might have been the Explorer, or I forget which tab it was under. I don't know. And we are on the tiers that will unlock trains as well. Before I try something like that, I'd want to have everything automated.
Milestone reached. The manufacturer increases production
Right.
capacity. A critical look at production line logistics and efficiency is recommended during integration.
Right.
The truck allows for increased efficiency in transportation, automated or otherwise. New project parts enable progress to the next phase.
That would be the motor thing and the AI. No, whatever that is. The manufacturer. I don't have the ability to make that right now. Like 3. Transport. It unlocked the truck. Should not have unlocked anything anywhere else yet. Not yet. I think I need to do one of the other tiers. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave that. I think I can look at this before I... Because I know I want to do that, which will unlock the packager. And that also unlocks the industrial fluid buffer. Before I get too far with that, though, I really need to get that going. And I think I can do that now? Yes. I technically can do that. Alright, so let us put one manufacturer on our bar. I think I have motors, but I don't have the heavy machine frames. Heavy machine frames. Heavy modular frames. Encased beams and screws. I would need encased beams. And I need 10 of those altogether, and you get 1 per recipe, and it's 5 beams. So I would need 50. 50 of those. All of this also needs to be automated too, so. I'm not going to be getting 148 of those, but I could have swore I had some motors. And I think I'm going to place the thing down, and then after that, go ahead and empty my pockets. Motors. Turns out I hadn't grabbed that. And screws. How many screws does it take to make one? I can make all that other stuff, but I don't want to do it here. I actually want to make the heavy modular frame. 100 screws per. So I need 1,000 screws. Fortunately, our screw factory is backed up on the ones for this that are in the storage. Literally 1,000 screws, and I can't manufacture it yet because this is to make this is what we need to make the parts. Yeah. I can't actually craft that without one of these. Oh, 5 of those per. So I would actually need 50 of those. I'm gonna grab some extra just to be sure I have enough. My iron thing here is gonna definitely need to be pulled and redone sooner rather than later because I still have some inefficiencies there too. And we're gonna make 10 exactly because I don't have enough of anything. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to do this by hand for the moment. Eventually, I do need to set up the automation for the heavy modular frames. We have a lot of recipes that aren't automated yet that need to be. Like the encased steel beams need to be automated. Stators are already automated, but we need to automate the process of making the motors. But in our collection of gubbins up here, machinery that we go, oh, that's the recipe for that. Put that there. Go dump everything out of our pockets. Yeah, right. Okay, now we've got that going. We've got that going. I cannot remember how many segments it is for a belt max length. But I think we're just going to have to belt stuff around, unfortunately. Actually, before I got doing that, I was thinking it'd be good to go ahead and start on the building, maybe? A centralized location, and I'm looking at putting it over here. But I also want to be able to manufacture more than what I already am. So, let's see. That is that plus rotors. Let me think. I could start prep work for the fuel generators too, which would be 4 more refineries. I think I have everything I need for that. Let's see. Motors. We're a little short on motors. We will need that and that. Shouldn't need a whole lot of that. I think we're gonna need more of the copper sheets though. Oh, and encased industrial beams. Let's switch this over to making the encased beams. And then grab the parts to do the motors, and just, since it's only 5 of them, I think we'll be okay doing that in our pockets. Let's see. Plating. I believe that's the rotors over there. When we do the actual storage room, I have the access to the signs now. And then stators. And I don't think there's any in that box at the moment, so we'd have to go up there anyways because we need more steel pipes. It'll make however many that amount of that will make. Usually in my past playthroughs, the bottleneck is actually those heavy machine frames, or those heavy modular frames, because I don't put out enough of the regular modular frames. And I was thinking to optimize things. I was looking at the nuclear pasta, and I was going to work my way backwards through it. I haven't gotten that all done yet. But to maximize the output of that is where I was thinking would be a good starting point. So I know exactly how many of the regular modular frames I need. I don't think one singular thing producing that's going to be enough. I'm not going to be making a ton of motors, but just to make a couple. The further you progress, the longer that pod takes to return. And once you do the very final of the hub research, it doesn't come back. Or it might come back, but there's really no need for it because, well, you've done all the research at that point. I just happen to already have gone through all the oil production. And then it hit me. All of the jobs that I've had the longest have had something to do with logistics. And this is a game that's almost entirely logistics based. And then I got to thinking, oh, right line of work, wrong position. That's my problem. So, motors.
Milestone exchange concluded.
I mean, I don't need to make
Freighter re-entry
50, I just need to make
complete.
like 5. All this work just to be able to set it up but not do anything with it because, unfortunately, we don't have the fuel generators yet. I was thinking earlier in stream, I suppose an advantage of not having the play for the dashboard because of my graphics card and everything being hardware accelerated is that I'm using about half the data I normally would for my streams. Because it counts upload and it's cumulative for calculating how much data you use in a month. It's calculated cumulatively, upload separately from download and added together. And so I'm only doing the upload side and not the download side. Only 4 because that's all I need for 240. And I know it's going to use 100 megawatts, but and the default is 40 for the pump at 100% speed. And I've got it set to 200% because with a normal node I would only be getting 120 oil per minute. And I wanted to make it match the others. And as I was running through and doing all the calculating, I was thinking, well, I could just do 2 refineries and do that at 100%, but then you lose out on all the extra generators. It'll cut my... If I were to do that, it would cut the fuel generator capacity in half, roughly. This shouldn't need the... I could do a Mark II, but... And then later we'll need to make the... what you call it, into fuel as well. Okay, I'll hydrate. Take the heavy oil and residue and turn it into fuel as well. But if I remember correctly, the calculations show it only needs like 1, maybe 2 refineries for that. I'd have to pull my notepad out and look at it. Let's see. Over there. Sploosh. I mean, if there is another one here, it looks like there is. That's an idea too. Have a separate one for that. Instead of overclocking the bejesus out of this one. Because it's 40 by default, and that would be 80 to get the same amount of fuel instead of 100. But on the other hand, I'm already set up for that, so... Let's see, foundations. And it was 10, so probably about 5. Four, 5. Oh. Well, thanks for stopping by there, Mr. Sturman. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Because time zones. That button. 4. And then I need to set up... I think I can probably get away with just 2 stackable conveyors here. I'll be back there eventually. I don't know that the pipes can make that bend. these, one in each corner. And then I might as well put this up. Two, three, four. And then there is a product that comes out of here. Not the splitter, the merger. Yep, that was the correct one. Somewhere like that. Yep, fell off. And this is one of those times where we store part of it. But then the remainder of it is getting split off and sent over to that awesome sink. Because this is that plastic stuff. No. And the problem earlier doesn't reach. I'm gonna have to pull that back out, but but what if you want to keep going with that belt? Did I hook that up to power? I don't think I did. I fell off. Not that it matters that much. I think the plastic's full. Yeah, it's attached to power. There's just nothing going in it just yet. I don't have the industrial fluid buffer yet. So I think what I'm going to do is get it all completely set up and ready to go, and then just not click the power on for now. Of course, it also helps if you actually hook the pipe part up to it too. That should be fine. Just fuel. It might have been 2 that'll be needed. Fuel, and then there's no point in really doing a whole lot with it because I can't do anything with it at the moment. Let's see, fuel generator. Oh, it needs 4 for that, okay. Well then. Get all the infrastructure in place, and then we can do the research thing, and all of this will be ready to go. That's about as ready as it's going to be at the moment. I'm probably going to put the industrial fluid buffer before the fuel generators, just to make sure there's a supply if something happens. Although, with the way this game works, I'm not sure how much that really matters. We're full up on that, and the rubber is still being made. But eventually we'll be able to not have that pile up anymore. And the main reason to hold off on the fuel generator is because we don't actually have access to it just yet. So we'll need 4 more of those. 2, 3, 4. Probably set it up off the back there, and then basically line up all the generators through there. That is definitely something we're going to want to have valves for, so that it only flows through the generators and doesn't do weird stuff. Also, I might want to grab some more rubber out of my other place, because I think I want to go ahead and put valves on the fuel output side of those refineries. For the same reason as the heavy residual oil. But I got it all calculated out. And then when at the very end of all of the generators, I'm going to have a packager to package up the refined fuel, and I'll probably send the excess off to the Awesome Sink. But it's going to be set to a really low amount, like 10% or something like that, because at full throttle, it needs more fuel than I'll have available. It needs 40, and I'm going to have 8 fuel left over after all of the generators. So probably 20% or so. Between 10 and 20%. copper sheets we do have. Motors I could probably throw together. Same thing with the encased beams. Wow. I don't have much in the way of steel beams left. There's probably more in one of these boxes. Nope. We're gonna have to go back over there. Meanwhile, we're going to swap the recipe. You're listening to my people. To make the map easier to use is why I want to unlock the radar tower, which have not been working on. Steel beams. Might as well grab some steel. Well, I don't think we need any of that. Mostly just steel beams. At the moment, it's a bit of a hike. I think it's a stack of each. Stack of steel beams and a stack of concrete will get you a stack of encased beams or something like that. I think that works out to exactly all the materials to be used. The copper's over there, but I don't want to drop my health that quickly here, if I can help it. So we're going to go around. Instead of leaping off a cliff. I don't think I want to hook it up to the output from the residual just yet. Eventually, we do need crafters and stuff to make the empty canisters to go with the packager, but should have plenty of that. I didn't grab any concrete. stack of steel beams, pull all that out. I can't wait on it to run that because it hasn't got any of the stuff in it. Let's see, I am actually getting low on iron sheets too. Dump stuff in there, then go find the iron. Let's see. Nope, gotta go grab it from over there. And I should have plenty of basically everything else. Let's see. I mean, I suppose technically I could do that before that. It's those frames and the computers that's going to be the pain. Because I don't have the circuits on AutoCraft or any of that. It's the little circuit thingy. Circuit board. Copper and plastic. Alright, so that should not be too awfully bad to automate. It's getting everything together to automate it. That's going to be the biggest issue. Come over and stare at this while I have a drink. Not quite enough. Need to automate that too. That should be enough. Go ahead and get the platform and everything in place for the refineries to make the residual fuel recipe. I may work on getting all of everything automated as much as I can. I'm afraid I'm going to have to run some conveyors over here from over there and bring the plastic and rubber over. And I forget how many segments it is that you can do max length on a conveyor belt. Slightly less than that is how far apart I want to have the stackable conveyor poles, because I want to use those. I hate doing it, but a lot of this stuff's going to probably just have to be conveyored around. I do remember having a ginormous factory for screws and other parts too. basically a 5x6, I suppose. But I'm going to pull it off the back side of that one. Might need to move that belt. Here. I think it's invalid because this is in the way. There we go. Two, three, four. It clears it, but only just. And that gets made from the residual fuel. As for the routing of the other part, I'm going to hold off on that. Uh-oh. That'd be the game crashed. Oh, send and restart. I can't click the button. Stupid Steam Alt Tab thing. There we go. Fortunately, I know for a fact I was in a safe spot. Should not lose a whole lot of progress here. Loading. It's a buggy game. I'm not sure if it would not do that in single player or not. Yeah, that's exactly where I was. Logistics, that. And these should all be configured. And I don't think it did anything to that. And actually, since the power feed's on the other side, I should probably put the power on that side. Huh? Do I have the parts on me to do that? I do. But that is how we take care of all of the residual fuel. Not sure how many flushings of that I need to do. Because there does come a point where even the rubber's full. Haven't quite reached that point yet. Getting there, but we're not quite there yet. Alright, so we got everything set up and ready to go. We just need that advanced power stuff. And then we can take care of the fuel. But I also want to go ahead and get the alternate fuel or alternate liquid transport. Fluid transport. Yeah, I haven't checked the power in a while. Max consumption 1283. We're drawing almost 800 now. But that's why I'm holding off on actually hooking up the fuel refining setup. And that's also why I'm not worried about having the residual heavy oil too awful much just yet. It stops generating that when the storages are full. Eventually, I will take the belts off of in between where it all merges together and the storage and send one over to the awesome sink. So that way it'll keep generating that heavy residue oil stuff, and when it's doing that, it'll actually be able to go ahead and keep the power going. There was actually a plan. I wasn't able to do all the steps today because I still have a little further research to do. We need to get the power one going as well as the alternate fuel transport. Fluid transport, I think is what it's called. And I don't think I'm going to be able to do a whole lot of those just yet. think what I might do, I'm not entirely sure. I think there's a standard storage container on the bottom. Like I've got most of my storage set up. And so what I think might be a good idea would be to grab a small container worth of concrete, dump it into that, and then same thing with the steel beams. Because we're going to be needing a bunch of that. Sort that and sort that. I'm holding on to that plastic and rubber because it's right here, and that is what we need. That and screws. So how much is normal production of? Actually, I don't think I need to go all the way down there because I've got my example thing up here to check the recipe. Select recipe, modular frame. And you get 2 per minute. So we need 5 of those. Yeah. Basically, we're going to need to do 5 of these. And we haven't even made it to the next phase where we need to start thinking about how many of the, what you call it. Because there's one more tier above this. I can't remember if it's just 1 tier or 2. And I know the last phase is really slow, the nuclear pasta one, because it's like 1 every 2 minutes. But for the actual frame thingy, I think it manufactures 2 or 3 a minute. And so we're going to need to really bump this up. I haven't checked. 3 reinforced plates and 12 iron rods. So we're going to be doing some more math. I might do all the mathificating off camera and not log into the game for a while. Just let it pile up resources. Yeah, we got 3 more coupons. Over here, awesome shop. I don't think we need that. Haven't really needed any of these. That you need to have the purples mark 3. There is a floor hole for this, but I don't think we're going to need that. I think I'm going to do the double ramp set for now. Eventually, we are going to have everything out of the awesome shop. Basically, the double ramp, it's a ramp up top as well as underneath. It lets you do sloped ceilings without having the roof. You can separate which is the roof and which is the floor, and it lets you have a sloped second floor. Or you do a ramp system where you come down like this does, and then you go around underneath, and it makes the ceiling a little bit nicer looking. We also have the ability to do customizing with our stuff too. Like, give ourselves concrete foundations. I just don't have the concrete on hand. But one of the things I'm thinking is at some point I want to start actually building here. I haven't got to that yet. And I know there's a way to set it, but I can't remember what it is to use a different material by default. Nope. But basically it's like that. Steel glass roof. I don't have any roofs. This makes it basically turns it makes it into a concrete base. Stuff like that. And you can also make it different colors too. I just haven't. I think you need the flowers though to make them into dye. Oh hey, I get the iron plates back, so it's actually cheaper to use just concrete. Huh. Good to know. Let's see. I think you do need to actually paint it. Aha. I have absolutely no idea how to use that. I do know that's just painting the arrow on the ground. That's what I need a color cartridge for. Alright, so it would be an arrow like that, but we need color cartridges to do that. Somehow I've managed to accomplish going over anyways. Let's go ahead and craft up all those the color cartridges then. Since it seems to be the only thing you can do with it anyways. I might as well. While this is running, I'm having a drink. So it looks like the color cartridge is stacked to 200. On the one hand, in Minecraft, it's nice to have everything that stacks for the most part stacked to the same amount. The downside is 64 is not a whole lot. Especially in any kind of a game where you're going to have thousands and thousands of whatever. I think it was one of the things that Asuma has observed is that it tends to be best to stack to like 999 and cap it there. Although technically you don't have to cap it there, that's probably the best place to stop. Stick our color cartridges there because we're going to need those eventually. But in the meantime, oh, I think I'm gonna raid one. Do I do TLP or Mr. Wizard? Well, that explains the lack of hydrate commands. Anyway, we're gonna raid TLB. They're playing Minecraft on the Frog and Chicken SMP, looks like. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Same time, 3 p.m. Eastern till 6-ish. And I'll see you then.